Music matters. Mr. Ed of the High Curbs. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you.
How's everything going? I know you've had a very busy last couple months, it seems like, from the outside, but how's everything going in the personal along with the music?
It's good. It's good. It's got its ups and downs, and the downs are, low, and then the highs are, Jesus Christ, they feel really good. So I think that's how everyone feels nowadays.
Yeah.
But
that's like a reality of a musician, I guess, especially a touring musician.
Yeah, honestly, it's I was gonna quit music for a second earlier in this year, stressing over stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like the balance of it, or just like life stuff, or
no, just it's hard to make it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really hard.
That's like not a that's so weird. That's not like a perspective I would think you'd have, just because you're somebody who's like been it. Because it's funny. I actually wrote this down when I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, at least the perception, in the short time that I've known you, the perception that I've gotten is very much like Ed would make music regardless of whether or not he ever got a single listener or he got like 100 million listeners. It just feels like you'd always
I guess not like stop making music, but like trying to make it, I guess, like as a, because the dream is to be able to live off my music, right?
Yeah.
And not have to work a regular job and whatnot. So just putting all my, like, I literally dropped out of college to fucking pursue music.
Yeah.
And now it was getting to the point, like, later last year, earlier in the year, when I was like, those thoughts were kind of consuming me, where I was like, fuck, should I go, do I need to go back to school? Like, did I make the right decision? And I think it just also happened to be because I wasn't playing any shows, and there was no like real set plan. Like, we were sitting on a record, but then, like, I don't know, I think it's just being anxious also more than anything. Like, it just kind of I just fuck with my own head, to be honest.
No, of course, bro, of course. It is really, really weird, because like I think about this a lot. There's like literally doing something in art or music or whatever field you are, that's, as long as it's like a creative or art driven field, there more or less like is no path. And that's a really cool thing if you think about it in terms of like, there's a million different ways to do this. It's just about finding one of those ways. But it can be very, very stressful when you compare it to something like that college route, right? When like you go to school, graduate school, get an internship turns into a job. That job, it turns into keeping up, corporate ladder. But it's like with music, there's so many journeys that like are so different, and some of them end right when they began, and some of them last a long time, but success comes immediately and then never comes again. Or some of them, success comes super late, somewhere in the middle. Sometimes there's waves, whatever. But it's interesting. It's so funny to hear you say that, because like that was not my perception at all. Just because it's always been like, it's crazy to me how you guys have done this for like so long. And again, like, I've only known about yourself for a couple of years, but it feels like, at least in the more recent like year/months, you guys have had like an uptick or a bit of a turning point. Do you feel that way? Like, how did you kind of get out of that place?
I think that's like, funny enough, like, I think, because we've been in it for so long, and you see so many people, like we were talking earlier, like you kind of see everyone, like your friends around you, you're like, oh shit, they're popping off, or like you see them, or they got signed, or they just, oh my god, they got this like crazy booking agent, and you're just kind of like sitting, kind of waiting for your shot. And so like, it's a lot of it gets pretty hard in like, the psyche, and almost being like, fuck, what am I doing wrong? Right? And weirdly enough, when I was telling you, like, I'm kind of over like chasing, it's almost like chasing the dragon, right? And I was like, all right, well, I think I'm kind of over it. But this was like, meanwhile, like, Happy Depths was still not going on, and like, I just kind of had to get to that point, and then I don't know, just stuff kind of started happening on its own.
But that really is like funny enough, like just describing it like that, like chasing that dragon to slay, right? That's like really what that is, if you think about it, because like you said, like you were in this period where stuff was steady, whatever, but it was like you just didn't feel like it was moving, and you almost had to get to that place and then make the conscious choice to keep going, to then have that big pinnacle, So
I mean, I'm happy where we kind of, like how you're saying, like, in the last year, I think it's been going pretty good. And I haven't felt that, but like I'm telling you, like, late last year and early this year, I was like, And I think it's just also, like I said, the inactivity. You know, like,
yeah,
because we didn't play shows for, I think it was almost like 6 months.
Why was that?
It just didn't.
Just didn't get something in there that came up.
Yeah, nothing really like worth it, I guess, was coming up, and just sat and waited. And you know, we had Happy Daps, and usually we get Radius Claws pretty hard for that. So like we couldn't do stuff locally also for like that certain time. So yeah, it was a little bit of different things and elements kind of making that.
Did the venue present a Radius Clause? What's up? What's up? Oh, sorry. You can format it real quick. My bad. Is it this one's good that we can be on?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. No, yeah, you're good to format that. My bad. I totally forgot. I didn't know that a venue could like provide a Radius Clause like that. I always thought it was a promoter and or a. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I definitely knew that. Now I'm thinking about it.
Well, the venue has Live Nation as their promoter.
Gotcha.
They do. I think like a 90-day and mileage. So there's some radius.
Just for like, is that for like the magnitude to show you guys were throwing, or just in general to do that?
I think it's usually if you're a headliner, they'll do that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's usually just for the headliner.
Yeah.
And I feel like it works.
Yeah,
like,
it makes sense.
Because we've been doing this for so long where the whole, hey, let me play 3 shows in a weekend.
Yeah.
And like people kind of stop showing up after the second weekend you do that because they're like, I just fucking saw this band. So yeah, it makes sense why. And I think you get cooler, better shows if you kind of limit yourself from playing everything.
Yeah.
And
which I'm sure is hard because I'm sure you guys want to play all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Which is probably but I guess that, you know,
but then you start playing bad shows because you keep keep playing them over and over and over and over, and not like,
and the spark is gone.
Yeah, exactly. So now we kind of, there came a time where we were like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. It's almost like limiting the quantity of them like actually makes them better. You know, whereas I think a newer act might assume the opposite.
Yeah, and I think it was fine when we were doing it because we also just got a lot of experience playing.
Oh, totally.
And like put in the hours and whatnot, and just really find like that, like stage presence and everything. And
totally.
So
I feel like another reason why it makes sense when you're smaller is often because it's like you can still like if you're an upcoming band in LA, you can still play. Like, let's say you just start, right? You could play a new show with like bands that are your size that don't really have much of a fan base every weekend for 3 years without ever like really like running out of bands to play with, right? But then it's like you start growing, and then when you grow, you want to play with bands that are around your size or have a a fan base that you can pull from, et cetera, et cetera. Like there has to be a point, and you get to this place where it's like, like there aren't that many bands that are like our size locally, right? So if we're gonna play a local show, it's got to be with one of them. It doesn't make sense to just pack it with a bunch of other smaller bands. But then it's like there's only so many of those bands, and the pulls start to coincide at a certain point as well. And it's like eventually you have to find ways to kind of like pull from different places. And it was interesting seeing all the dates on your guys' headlining tour that you just did, because so many you guys had like local openers at like every single stop for the most part. It seemed like, right?
So that was all on purpose, where I will be fully transparent, and like it's cheaper to pay a local band than like bring one of your homies to support, because then you have like that responsibility of like, shit, you gotta take care of this other band. And right now I don't think we're a size band where I can say, hey, I'm taking my homies with me on tour. Like now, like I still need like local support pull, because I need local people who they're gonna bring, that might not know who the High-Gribs are, and so you're introducing that local audience to that.
But even if you guys were double your size and like could do like let's say like you could do headlining shows across the country that did, the size of the Troubadour or whatever, right? And you could do that in every city. Even if you were that size, it does surprise me that bands that size don't pull from local openers more, because I feel like it's just another opportunity to get more fans, But I guess like if they're selling them out, they don't really need that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't really know. I feel like bands still do that. I think it's maybe they don't do like I think they'll do legs.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a different thing.
Gotcha.
A West Coast band will do a West Coast leg, or a Southwest band will do a Southwest, East Coast. So I think I see more of that. And then I will admit it's a lot easier to do because you're dealing with less like the amount of times I had to switch flyer, like had to go back in and this band dropped, so I gotta go change the flyer, and then it's a lot of different people you're dealing with.
How are you finding those bands, dude? Because look, it's pretty nuts how many fucking bands you found, dude.
It was a lot of just going on one Instagram to the next Instagram to the tagged. A Reddit actually was kind of helpful in that, with I'm on like a garage rock like Reddit page, or surf rock, I think that's what it is. Surf punk, whatever. So some suggestions came from that, and then even if it was just a suggestion, then I would look that band up, and if they weren't available, then I would, like you said, go to their tag, see who they played with, and then just keep doing that. And I mean, that's really the only way that you could find bands, and nowadays it's a lot of work to just find bands.
And you guys booked that whole tour independently, right?
We have an agent.
Okay, you got an agent now? Okay, nice.
Yeah, we have an agent. I can't do it alone.
That'd be pretty crazy.
Not only that, but like I did book a lot of our first tours like independently, DIY, but
that shit is crazy. Yeah.
They don't take you serious. So it's a lot of, like, that's the thing.
Interesting.
Like, venues won't take you serious if you're like emailing. Like, our email is thehighgroupsuck@yahoo.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that's probably why they never even got back to us. And maybe we were just drafting a wrong email. And with an agent, they have these contacts.
They got everything. Yeah. It's interesting, like, looking back at like that aspect of things, because it's like you guys like feel like a DIY band in a way, but you also are so like keen on, like, Happy Daps. Like, it felt like the most professional show I've ever been to, with bands that like would still play. I guess maybe those bands are too big now to play like more DIY shows, but they all come with that energy. You know, like, it feels like that scene is so oriented, and that's one thing that's been really fascinating, like getting to know you, but also just like seeing what you do is like doing things like hike or doing things like the Happy Daps, and then even like the Troubadour show you guys just did, like the openers you booked, like very, very localized act, like Sept is super dope. We booked them. We booked them a couple months back, but like doing that and kind of being like a student of like the LA scene, do you feel like you'd ever want to get to a place where like you're doing something more community oriented? Is that kind of the goal with Happy Daps as it moves forward? Is to be strictly kind of a showcase of the LA scene? I
think I just really like Happy Daps is kind of all bands that I'm like am friends with. Or a band that I see that I like and is coming up, or just a band that I like really like, you know. And I think Happy Daps Fest can kind of stay just being like a fest that I curate, but I do want to do like kind of side shows for it throughout the year. Because I do like, even though it's super stressful to just book the fest, like right now I find myself like being like, oh man, I should have probably booked a date for like like a Halloween show or something, and like that would have been cool. But so like I guess more as a work it more like a promoter would be fun to do. But again, it's a lot of work, and High Groups is a whole job of itself, and the fest is a whole job within of its own. So I think I mean, essentially I do want to showcase more of the bands I like and I think are coming up. It's super, I feel like I always think about this, right? It's so hard to like do the thing and then grow, or it's like do the thing, tell the story of doing the thing, and then figure out the next step at the same time, right? And that's kind of like where I feel like what you're trying to do at the same time, right? It's like doing the High Curbs and kind of telling the story of the High Curbs, simultaneously putting out music, throwing your own shows a lot of the time, you know, and then simultaneously like trying to be a touring band, but then also like Happy Daps being its own thing. That's a whole another entity, even if it's so connected to the High Curbs, right? At a certain point, it's really hard, but I feel like you just got to figure out like what is, you know, like where to put your time. Plus, you still work a full-time job, you know? Yeah, it's, I mean, I like being busy.
Yeah.
And like I kind of didn't realize that like yes, I was like super stressed out and like in my head about it all, but like the payoff is massive. Like,
yeah.
It just feels so good. Like the day after the fest, I was like, damn, like
what just happened?
That was awesome. Like it just felt unreal, and I don't know. It's super rewarding. That's what it is. Like you put a lot of your time and yourself into it.
Yeah.
And
your heart and like your emotions
exactly.
and it's so hard to not be emotionally invested in this stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it's really a beautiful feeling, like just seeing people kind of enjoy what you put out there, whether it's music, whether it's the festival, you know, like it's really cool to see, and it's just a great feeling.
I bet that was like definitely related to that route that you were describing a couple minutes ago, where it's like it's really, really, really difficult, and I think about this a lot in the context of labels, but I think it applies to musicians as well. It's kind of an inverse, I guess, but it is really, really difficult to be in music or be in art and not attach any emotion to it and just make it a career. At least for me, it's kind of been like an impossible task, and because I mean I've been doing this like 6 years now, and I've accepted like I will never think about it non-emotionally. I will never think about it non-passionately, and it's weird to me that like there's a corporate side of music that is fully devoted to just like the commodity of it, right? It's like music as a commodity, music as a job. Like that feels so strange to me, and I think like there was a part of me though. I think like before I quit my job where I was obsessed with like the whole like I just need to I just want to quit and be full time in music, et cetera, et cetera. But I think there is such like a beauty to like learning to love the present moment, and I think that is like when I've gotten those places, at least I think that is like that dragon that you were describing, like slaying that dragon for me a lot of the time is like learning to be okay with what you are and love it, you know, and love that present moment. But it's so hard, bro.
It's weird like getting there.
For sure.
It's just like it's just hard getting there, but when it's there, it's like I said, it's just so rewarding, and it just feels good, and then it's like it reminds you why you put yourself through all that.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I mean at the end of the day, it's all still like you said, like we have an agent, but the band is operated very DIY, and Happy Daps is still very DIY. Like all the bands that play, you know, we had either a relationship with like a personal relationship with them, or they were even just internet friends. So it's still not like very I don't know. I'm like I tried, but like I try to cold call or like cold email bands that I like and just like never heard back or anything. So like there's none of that yet. There's like no strangers yet, if that makes sense.
And that's kind of why it's an interesting place though, because it's like I can see, and by the way, I want to tell you this sooner in person, but thank you for letting me like be a part of it and help out.
Thank you.
Of course,
you took a lot of stress away from me, so I appreciate that.
Of course, no, it was. I would love to do it next year. It was such a fun time, but that's why it's so interesting to me. I've been thinking about this since it happened, but it is in the kind of place right now where it's like, because you saying that, right? There isn't like strangers really there yet. That level of pull, at a certain point. And this is always a weird thing, but it's like when the more DIY side of thing meets the more music industry side of things is when they're no longer able to be denied. And I think that kind of outsider looking mentality can be really, really fun to watch, you know, from something like Happy Daps, for example. Like a lot of these bands, like, I mean, most of them, they're all Southern California local. They're all Latin fronted. They're all like outsiders looking in for the most part. And it's, do you have the ambition to kind of like keep it where it is, keep it independent, and keep it with you? Or
I would like to curate something bigger, if that makes sense. Like, I love that it's like kind of its own, almost like it's like a
its own scene.
Yeah, it's its own scene, and I don't know. It's a secret. It's like the best kept. Like I don't know. It's the best kept secret right now, because even though like cool, it's people, you know, it's all the kids in the scene coming out and showing out, and the like the music industry, like outside people who are not in it, like they kind of, I'm sure they don't know shit. You know, they don't know what Happy Daps is, and that,
which is crazy to think about. Yeah,
and like, but you know, then like the first year, you know, Deathlands got signed to Epitaph a few months later, and then this year we had Choke Cherry, and they just got signed to Fearless.
Which
so
is
like,
sick. Shout out Choke Cherry, SF baby.
Yeah. So like, who's next year? You know, like who's gonna be that?
Who's signed to Epitaph? You said.
Deathlands on the
gotcha.
First Happy Daps they played, and they got signed. So like, I don't know. I hope like these labels are kind of like looking in and maybe you know, like, hey, I have a good eye. I have a good ear. Like, so yes, I would like to keep it like independent and you know, keep throwing the fest like that. But I think honestly, like, I would really like to curate like a bigger festival.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody gave me like a real budget, like I think I could do something cool for like, you know, whoever.
Yeah, no, fuck yeah, dude. And I totally agree with you. First off, that I think the curation was fucking sick. But I mean, maybe I'm biased because I just was fan of so many of those bands. But
that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
but you're right.
It's like you package something so well. Like, let me try that at a bigger scale. Like, I just need someone to give me that shot, basically.
Yeah.
And you know, going back to what you were saying, where like there's a side of music that's like very in it for kind of the money, and like I would also like to be in it for the money and work. I'd be down to work under somebody, and I've tried, but college degree. Like they look into that.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I've applied.
You tried,
like I've applied to like agencies and stuff, and you know, other music, you know, promoters, and like their whole requirements are like, hey, I have like over 10 years of like experience in the music, and I book tours, and like still at the end of the day, it's like because I don't know anyone there is probably a problem, and then not having a degree is like kind of what's stopping that. So
that's fucking nuts to me. That's actually insane to me.
Yeah, it's really hard to just like you know, you see it all the time where like job openings, and like there was a couple years where I kept applying to them and like nothing, and I kind of wanted to do Happy Dabs to kind of build that resume at first, but now I'm like, I kind of like it too much where I don't even want to share it. But also, like, I would love to work for someone and let me cook something.
First off, that's like I said, like that's nuts to me though. That, like the fact that can just not even get you an interview or something. Because I know A&Rs that have a lot less fucking experience than that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like I'm so involved in the scene. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's weird.
It's and I think there probably is a level of it where it's like the scene of music that like the High Curbs are in, and a lot of these bands around it, like it traditionally is like this thing that I suppose isn't super intertwined with the more traditional side of the music industry, especially post TikTok and stuff, right? Where it's like even like, you know, the SoCal music scene pre-COVID wasn't very inherently tied to like, you know, like the music industry, like the biggest acts, right? Like the biggest acts in that band kind of scene. You know, talk about like the Garden, like they weren't even really like tied to the industry a lot. I mean, post like even them blowing the fuck up, they're not even like, they still do a lot of shit independently, to the best of my knowledge. So it's like I would be curious if that was a part of it. But in the second thing I'll say though is, and I say this to Mario all the time because I think he has like some of the best taste of anybody I've ever met, but like that is like literally
the Mario Sosa
experience meetup. I think though, like one thing that is so undefinable, bro, and is like there's no price to it, is like having taste and understanding what's cool and understanding culture, and that is just one thing that major labels suck at. And like let alone majors, like boutique, most boutique labels suck at that. A lot of indie labels suck at that. You know, it's like they don't understand like what you understand because you've been in it for 10 years. It's just a very different thing.
You ever go on like the like Fresh Finds Spotify playlists?
Yeah, all the time.
They're so fucking trash.
And
like, I'm there wanting, like, knocking at the door, like, please put me on one of these fucking playlists.
Yeah.
And like, they put out just utter garbage, and like the people in control are record labels. And, you know,
Spotify's owned by like 80% of Spotify's owned by the majors. I think it's 80 or 75 or something. But it's like the majors own the vast majority of Spotify.
It's nuts,
which is pretty crazy. And I think that there's certainly some, you know, there's some good eggs, and I know some people with some bigger labels that are great people, and I think they have great taste, but it's just kind of what I was saying when it's like, you know, music as a commodity feels weird. I think sometimes taste and like profitability don't match up.
Yeah.
And when they don't match up, there's just a place where the ladder gets left behind for the profitability, you know? But that's what's so cool, because that's like, I think we're seeing this a lot right now in a lot of different music scenes, right? But just talking about the one that you're kind of specifically, is like, there is a place where like taste is very, very, very valued. Of course, like all these bands are very, very, very quality. Like whether they're your sound or they're not, like objectively they're great players,
right? Every
one of them. And then it's like, there's a place where like people are valuing taste, and I think it exists, and it's those pockets that I think keep me excited. And I think there's so many of those pockets, and I think those pockets are the ones that go on to like create actual change and long-term musicality and just things that change the industry forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, there's hope in those pockets, and it's just about finding that like the right person to find you, almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then whether that's like an agent or a manager or I don't, just even what, like, dude, I've seen like TikTok, like music reviewers like change people's lives, like other bands people's lives, and I'm like, it's trippy, you know. Back to the same thing where like there's so many different ways to get there.
Yeah. Do you let me ask you this, because I believe mostly the exact same thing, and but I think it's really fucking cool when there's acts that like haven't really got the industry side of things really at all, and they just build huge communities. A lot of like house show bands of that in LA. There's this band of the Bay Area now called Midriff, and they fucking rip. And they're
they're like the shoegaze band.
The shoegaze bands, I knew you would know that. You're so based. But like those kids, just like literally, I mean, the guy Gus, who's in the lead singer, he kind of blew up on TikTok a little bit. But mostly like that band just grew like an ultra localized community, and there was just like this craze about them, like really off rip. And I've seen them live twice. It's like a super captivating live show. And I'm not really into shoegaze like that, but they were super cool. Do you think like taste still wins? Like I'm curious if you think that.
I mean, I don't know. There's just so many sides to it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you're asking me personally, like taste wins, I think rarely. Right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I see more garbage than good. Like specifically in like the mainstream, like music and kind of what makes it or whatever. Like I don't know. I feel like I find myself listening to more artists like that are not super well known more than the mainstream music. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like I don't know. It's a weird one.
I think one thing that's super like that I really feel you on that though is like, I think the coolest thing in the world is like being a fan of an artist and knowing you're not just like a dot in a sea of dots, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you like can be part of that community. I think that is something that's so valuable, bro. And that is what I think is the coolest part about Happy Daps, and like what you built with that, dude. It's like when you sell at a 1,500 cap venue, like can't really be ignored. And but it's really cool because like, I mean, I saw so many kids there that day, just like with like huge groups of people, like huge, like 20 people like there together, and like I don't know, just saw people talking to each other, making friends, and it just felt very like lively, like community driven, which is what I think is something that is definitely worth maintaining, and really the whole heart of it.
I think that like if like the Scram scene is doing
totally
just that, like they're that I like look at that scene, I'm like, damn, there's such like a close knit community with them. Like, you know, you look at the artists playing, you know, you're like, what, they'll have like 10,000 monthly listeners at max, but then you like they'll sell out like a show at the Telegram.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Which is like, for hikers, like that's a hard sell. Like that's me pushing that show every fucking week. But like they're just like, they just have almost like a built-in following. Yeah, because those shows are so fun, and it's young kids, and I don't know, it's I don't know, I like music scenes.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know,
like, and so like,
I mean, you grew up in it.
Yeah. Like, so like, it's weird. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm like, if I didn't see that you were in a music scene, I'm like industry plant.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a weird one.
But I also feel like the harsh reality is that like more people make it who aren't in music scenes now than are.
Yeah.
And I think the internet / COVID was like the big two things that just smacked the I totally spit, I'm sorry.
You're
just
good.
like smacked the shit out of that concept, right? Like
Yeah.
ultra localized music scene. And this is an interesting question. So you being from like Southern California, right? And you're from the IE originally, right?
Yeah.
So that music scene being, I guess, definitely kind of like grouped in, plugged in a little bit to the LA one, I would guess. Or no?
No, I think it was like, it was hard breaking into LA.
Uh-huh.
It was so gate kept.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, talk about that. Like, how did you kind of first start playing here?
So like, I guess like to get to the very start of it, like we kind of started throwing shows in the IE, and it was just backyard shows, like, because there's, you know, there was no venues over there. The one venue that was over there was called VLHS, and like that was like the DIY venue, and you know, Jazz Manners would play there and whatnot, and but like we were never, like, even though we would go to shows, like they would never book us, so like we were never in that ever. And so we're like, okay, well, we have our buddy's backyard that he's down to throw a show, and it just started like that.
Same shit, yeah.
And you know, then kids were just showing up because that was the thing to do, and then more, and then, you know, you started seeing other bands hitting you up like, oh, I kind of want to play there, and then it kind of took a life of its own. And by the end of it, we were pretty over it because they would always get shut down.
Yeah.
And so we were always like the band to play last. So ironically enough, like the bands who were opening got like the best followings after that.
Yeah, that blows.
But then that's how like bands like the Red Pears started coming up.
Yeah.
Like, so we like played house shows with them, and yeah, they're, look at them, they just played the Forum like last week. So and
saw Wayward play last night.
Was that?
Saw Wayward play last night.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Shout out Albert.
Shout out.
Then so like that was kind of how it started, and then just us getting over like the backyard scene was kind of where it was like, all right, let's go, let's try to hit LA scene. And it was tough to break into it. Like no one would book us. Like the smell I could not figure out how to book.
Yeah.
The Echo was like just straight up no.
Yeah.
And then the Observatory.
Yeah.
In Santa Ana, out of all places, was the one that like welcomed us, and Orange County kind of became a second home in that aspect. And so we started playing in Orange County more before LA, and eventually kind of LA gave in.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder to break into LA, you know, and it's only an hour away, i.e., you know, like really. And it was just, it was a lot of like paving our own way. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it was, I don't know, there's a lot of gatekeepers.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's fucking annoying.
I do truly feel like, though, like there is something to be said about just outlasting everybody. Like there really is something to be said about that, bro. It's like every single day, I think, that you put into this, like you learn and you learn and you learn, and eventually you just learn and have been around so long, it becomes undeniable. And every single day you figure out what works better, what doesn't, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like at a certain point, there just is no like they can't hold you out, you know, like for example, and like it'll come forward, like you said, like you know started, you know, with bands like the Red Pears, and now you're going on like a national tour with them. Yeah.
So just, I mean, they're like, they're the best. They're the best dudes. Like, they don't have to put us on their opening slot, but there we are, you know, like so I'm really thankful for those guys, and I just want to like keep riding that wave, man. Just let not gatekeep, essentially. Or like the other, you know, like, hey, if you hit me up and like you need help how to book a show, I will show you. Like, dude, the amount of bands I hit up that were just like, nah, it's crazy.
Which is like fucking why? Like you're not that busy. There's no way. Like, you know?
They're just like giving somebody the time of day is nice, and even in person, dude. Like I would approach people like in the LA scene and like just fuck me off, just be like, just cool guy me. And like the amount of times I've been cool guyed was insane. I don't know. It like pisses me off thinking about it. No. So I always try to like make time for anyone who asks me and what to do or how to just get started. Dude, also it's really fucking hot in here.
It is hot.
I feel like I keep losing my train of thought because I'm like,
I'm kind of considering do we run the fan and then try to denoise it, Mario? What do you think? Sauna. It's like a sauna. But yeah, on that point of gatekeeping, or
back to the program.
Yeah, back to your regular scheduled program. Damn, I had a what was it? What was the thought I was just gonna say? I had a thing cooking.
Sorry, dude.
No, you don't be sorry. You're good. I'm sorry. It's so hot. Gatekeeping, LA, being in the scene. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was my question. So, being in the IE and like you said, like it's not really connected to the LA music scene at all. Do you feel like, and this is something that was interesting when I moved here, right? Because like my prior perception was like, oh, LA is very much like pop music. LA is very much like, it's a lot of it is just like there's an industry side to LA, and that's like where you go, et cetera, et cetera. But this whole scene and that I've been exposed to, and largely because of Happy Daps, like some of these bands I got interested in, which is really sick. But because of that, I've kind of found this scene of all these artists that like are from LA or from Southern California or just from the surrounding area. So did you ever kind of find that like more commercial side of LA, or was it always, at least since you've lived here, felt like the scene, like an LA oriented music scene that was kind of tight knit?
No, I honestly feel like I was never welcomed in like I guess like if we want to go back like 2014 to 2016, like even now, like those bands that I like really wanted to play with and like I would listen to and want to be part of like what the LA scene was then, like they were not very welcoming and just like they just wouldn't allow you to make that step. So it was really just making it what you could like. I like eventually finally I got like the Way Into the Smell, and then I started booking my own shows there, and so it was just all DIY, like, and then eventually like bands who were like, and the IE started getting a following in LA, then we would kind of mesh together and play in LA, and so it started like almost building itself. Yeah, like the scene that is today was not a scene that was in 2016, and not just that, because none of the bands I would listen to that would make like garage rock or like surf music, like none of them were brown. Yeah, none you go to the Echo, none of them look like you or anything, and so I think it was kind of important to kind of make that change and hope that like kids can look at us and be like, oh cool, I could make that music, like I don't have to I could do whatever the fuck I want, basically. And I'm glad I think it's helped. I think like I said, when we played the Troubadour, like come on, that's like a testament to like this scene, like we fucking sold out the Troubadour, like who would have thought? And then the next day Mexican Slum Rat sells out the Glass House, like that's 2 legendary SoCal venues in a weekend that was headlined by like 2 Latino fronted acts, and I hope kids can look at that and be like, oh cool, I could do that. And then a week later the Red Pear's at the Forum, so like I don't know, I'm really happy to see that. Cool. That's not something that I per se when I was in high school, like I wouldn't see. It was, I don't know, it felt like I don't know, almost like just you had to look a certain way to be in it, if that makes sense. Like just in kind of like that blend of rock music. So it's nice, it's refreshing to kind of be the kind of first step towards that change. Like we're not there yet, but I hope that we kind of encourage others to jump on and start a band,
which is so fucking cool, bro. And I mean even like talking about like you said, like you guys, the Troubadour, Mexican Slum Rats at the Glass House, and then the Red Pears at the Forum, like those are 3 really big bands in that scene, right? But I mean, think about all of the, even like the somewhat smaller bands in that scene. It's still getting like a ton of fans, right? Just stuff like that are all Latin fronted as well, like Israel's Arcade, Bed, Grave Secrets, like so many bands like that are just like Latin fronted and like from the LA area. from Southern California area. And it's so interesting because I didn't grow up on like any of that music, right? But like coming into it for as an outsider from the Bay Area, it reminds me a lot of like the Bay Area scene that was really, really popping off in like 2018, 2017. And it's really fucking sick to see, bro, because it feels like it definitely feels like the start of something. Definitely feels like the start of something really, really cool. It's almost like a post-COVID, post-Burger Records, like rejuvenation of that kind of surf punk sound in Southern California. You know, it's just like it feels like the beginning of something.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely like the start of something really good. I don't want to jinx it, but like
yeah,
I really hope it's like it's the start of something really good, and I hope to keep growing it, and you know, whether it's not with High Curbs or like, at least something to put that step forward to the right direction, you know.
At the very least, watch and be a part of, you know.
Yeah, and if they make a documentary about it, then hopefully we're like that band that never made it, but is like a staple to it. That would be cool. That'd be sick.
I love those documentaries.
Yeah, they're like, you know, every band knew that one band, but like, like they never fucking made it, but every band knew that band.
Bro, you guys made it. I love those. Have you seen there's this great one about Gilman in the 90s called, or the late 80s rather, called Turn It Around.
No, never seen it.
So good, bro. Yeah, it's like talks about Green Day and like Op Ivy and like Rancid and like a bunch of those bands that kind of like just blew up like Gilman and like the whole East Bay punk scene. Super sick. But I love those kind of documentaries, bro. But like it was interesting, like kind of moving towards, I guess, like what's happening now with like the tour you guys just got off, because like I said, exciting to catch you this time because it's such like so much is happening.
Honestly,
it went Happy Daps, your headlining tour, and then you guys put the record out, and then now you're going on tour with Ultra Q and the Red Pears. So doing all that, right? Just talking about the record, I guess, first off, listening to that, the title track, right, the last song on the album, THC, like it certainly felt to me like this kind of moment of like, I don't know what it's about it, but it felt like a moment of celebration, almost like the ending to one chapter, right? And that's kind of what the title felt like to me. So talking a bit more about the record, why did you guys go in a self-titled direction? Did it feel like it was like a, you know, something that was most true to you, or just like why 4 albums in is a self-titled album?
I didn't want to be it's THC, right?
Yeah,
it's not the self-titled.
I guess technically not. Yeah,
but I did. But you're right. That's like essentially the direction I wanted to go, because it did feel like a self-titled record, because it did feel like we finally made something that we really liked, and I was really stoked on the direction we went. Like I guess like in previous records, it's been kind of just a collection of songs, like just they didn't really like intertwine, like I don't know, it was just songs, and then they're like, here's 12 songs. And this one was, I feel like we had a purpose to it, where we wanted to have it feel like that's
cohesive.
Yeah, just cohesive throughout the whole thing, and right with purpose, and just it just felt good, you know. Just Corby and I are the only original like High Curbs members. So
damn. So wait. So it started with just you and Corby?
It started myself, Corby, and then I had 2 other bandmates.
Gotcha.
And, so now it's kind of evolved into this whole nother band where now we have Berto. Berto was he's pretty much OG. He just joined after a couple years later. But you know, Berto was in it. He's in it now. Like this was kind of like, I feel like a record that he really poured his heart out to, and then Kenny's just like, this is his first record with us, and then Taylor like joining us kind of halfway to us writing it, and it just, I don't know, I just really liked it. I think it's it just made sense to kind of be on that self-titled vibe, like you said, and it just felt like almost a new band. Like part of me wanted to just change the band name to THC for a second.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the coolest thing ever to me, bro. Because like I just want to say, like, that's so inspiring to me, bro. Because it's like, you guys are 12 years in.
Yeah.
And you just, like, it took you that long to figure out, like, just, or make something that we're like, damn, this is the one, right? This feels like the self-titled record. And I think some people might perceive that as like, oh, that takes a long time. But to me, that's the the coolest fucking thing ever. And I feel you, because I think it's, I mean, I've been doing this for 6 years. No one, I mean, you've literally been doing it for double time than I have, but even doing it 6 years, I mean, starting when I was 16, it just like, you always have this little bit of like a chip on your shoulder, outside of looking in energy, I think, when you start something that young.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I started making songs when I was 16, and like, it's a whole different world. Like, my thing about High Groups is like, you gotta listen to like our discography in order, and it's just like a coming of age movie.
Yeah.
You know, like the first EP is just so silly, like, oh fuck, like literally summer vacation, and like just like having crushes on girls, and like then to our next record it's like still super silly, but like, oh, like more like real, more serious relationships with like your first heartbreak, or like, you know, it's just, I feel like it gets a little darker, like,
life gets more real.
Yeah, life gets super real, and to like this last one was like the like frustration was definitely the main theme of THC, and even though it was like frustration, the personally I felt more mature writing, and I was just really happy with it.
It definitely feels that way. I think it and I can see why you would feel the way that it's like the first High Groups record, really, right? Because it's like, so you said this is the first time that all 5 of you were on this album. Okay, cool. Yeah. When you were recording this record, like, because of the fact it was all 5 of you, and I was just looking through some pictures and stuff, you guys were obviously in the studio collectively with like one engineer and stuff. What were the biggest differences in the recording process between this one and your previous records? Like, what do you think it was that was in the room that made you feel like this one was, you know, as polished as it was?
This one's just produced better.
Gotcha.
Like, last ones were just like press record,
yeah,
and then that was it. And this one was like, okay, let's like map out where we're going, what we want to feel. And David, who produced the record, was like super helpful, and he was basically like, I'll put my input, I won't push my input, almost. Like,
that's a really good
like
philosophy.
He was like he wasn't like, you gotta do it like that. Like, it was like, I think it would sound cool if you tried something like this, and like that was really cool.
Damn,
and it was nice having that extra brain in the room, because something that maybe I would have just been like, no, fuck that, like leave it the way it is. He'd be like, nah, redo it, like, or like layer something over. Like, it was really good, and I think that was really worth it.
I feel like it's also key too, because it's like the 5 of you probably heard those songs a million times, whereas like his ears were way more fresh to them, you know. So he definitely offers like a way more outside perspective than maybe one of you guys had, because it's internal, you know. It's kind of like giving a song like the car test.
Yeah,
it can feel entirely different.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really fun just making that record, and what makes this one even, I feel like, me like the whole reason why I like this record so much is it was like previous times where we've had a record, we've sat on a record for like a year.
Damn.
Just because like, I want to do it right or whatever, and like, dude, like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one was like, we recorded it in October of last year, and then we're like, cool, we'll put it out as soon as we can. Like, we started putting out the first single, I think February or March. But
was the tour like attached to the record? Like, were you pretty much playing, like, at least the last headline tour you guys did, were you playing pretty much songs from the album?
So that one we played maybe like half of the album, just because we wanted to play it was a lot of our first time going to those cities, so we wanted to make it nice, at least like if we've had long-time fans there, like we could play some older stuff. So and we built a cool little set list along with that. Did
going to those new cities, like, were there any ones that surprised you? Where I'm sure a lot of them did, right? Where you went and you were like, damn, like, I didn't expect this many people or this many fans.
Honestly, all of them. Like, I was just grateful, like, that, you know, even though there was shows where we had like 10 tickets sold, I was like, dude, 10 tickets, that's like, like, I've played shows to a fucking bartender, dude. Like, there's been nobody there, like, so like, for me to go anywhere else outside of LA, or like, it is insane for me that people are down to go see my fucking band. So I'm it was, and in all the cities, I was just really happy. You know, there was people that would go to certain shows and were like, oh, I drove like 3 hours to get here. Like, wow, like that's amazing.
Yeah,
it just makes it feel that much better.
It's always funny how they say like comparison is the thief of joy, because like it is if you're comparing yourself to somebody else, but I think like if you're comparing yourself to where you were 10 years ago, it's like everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and it's so strange because like I think the only thing you should be, or the only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. Like, what do you think like 16-year-old Ed is like super stoked on if he's looking at you now?
I don't know. I don't think he cared much.
Really?
Yeah, I like it. The whole band started as a joke, man. Like, it took, like, everything. I feel like everything I do kind of just takes a life of its own.
Yeah.
You know, I like that was never in my. I never thought I was gonna be a musician or be in a band.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just, it was funny because we started this band and it was just like, on a hot day like this, we'd go to Corby's garage and jam, but like I didn't play an instrument, so they just gave me a mic and I just started yelling shit into it to like be funny, and accidentally started writing songs and put them on SoundCloud, and then people liked them. So it was, I don't know, it was weird. It's weird. I
feel like though, like stumbling into it that way is like why the longevity exists. It's like there probably was like, do you remember a point when it was like, damn, like I want to make this my job, like I want this to be everything? Like what was the kind of the tipping point, at least in the terms of how serious you were taking it?
After like our first tour.
Gotcha. When was your first tour?
Like 2016. Like, you know, I think I had just turned 18, and I was like, cool, let's go to the West Coast, and I just thought it was so fun. Yeah. Like, just the shows were like whatever, but like it was so fun just being able to play music in random places and like hanging out with your friends, and then I was like, oh, people like this, and honestly I just wanted a tour. That's all I wanted to do. Like, I just wanted to play shows. If I didn't there was a certain point where I was like, I don't care about writing new music. I just, like, oh, you have to write new music to go on tour. Yeah, like, dude, it was so fun. Yeah. So I guess the turning point was right before like to be like, oh, I wanna do this full time was like 2018 after I dropped out of school. I was like, I'm gonna be a rock star.
It's so crazy to think about. Like, I mean, like you were saying, like you said earlier this year, you almost kind of got to a place where you're so frustrated you wanted to stop. Like, it's so easy to get to that place, and I think you get to that place when you start thinking about success as like this linear journey, or like you're doing it for success. I've long felt like people who like really find the success are never really the ones that are doing it for the success. They're the ones that are doing it because they love it, and you know, they take it seriously. But it's like every single day you gotta like acknowledge as like its own separate battle, I think, and it gets so overwhelming if you just look at this whole thing and, you know, as like one big journey instead of thinking about it like, okay, today. Because I don't know, like I think this year I think I've taken a step back and just really tried to take more moments and realize how fucking like lucky I am, and like I talk about I make stupid ass videos about music, and you know, like that's like what I get to do as a job. That's like the luckiest thing in the world. And it's like doing that, I think, really keeps you humble. It's like, you know, you're traveling the whole country twice this year. That's pretty crazy. It
is crazy. It's just easy to forget, like,
oh, totally.
That's the thing, you know, like I enjoy doing this, but when I'm not doing it and your mind starts going somewhere else and you start comparing yourself to others, and it like it just goes off the rails, and so it's easier for me to forget, like, oh wait, no, I built something pretty cool. This popped in my head. I'd ask you, like, how do you think as you've matured in this, and you know, the longer you've done it, how do you think your mindset's
changed in terms of the way you used to look at making music and touring and stuff? Because I just to kind of give you an example of what I mean, I think when I first started doing this stuff, and I think it was very like in the mindset of like, I need to be successful, I want to do this so bad, I have to make this work, I have to figure this out, etc., 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 etc. And then it was like you get to that place where some things work a little bit, and then you start kind of, I think I've got to a place where it's like, now I'm just happy to do it more so than ever, and I feel like it's more satisfying, and that's kind of how my mindset I think has changed over the years. But I'd ask you, like when you started opposed to now, what do you think have been the biggest ways that the way you look at music and the mindset you changed? I guess the biggest lessons.
Yeah, I guess it goes in waves, right? Like, it started off super innocent and playful, and just like I just really liked to do it, and I thought playing shows was really fun. And then I was like, wait, I think I can like can I get paid? Can I like make a living off of this? And so then kind of going that aspect, and then as of recently, I've been kind of like, oh, I'm gonna take a step back and just kind of enjoy it. Yeah, it's like you really don't know when everything could just go away. Yeah, so
which is crazy.
Yeah, so I think I've been enjoying that a lot more recently. Where even like this last tour, like I did not ask for ticket sales.
Yeah,
like
that is so cool.
Like, I was just showing up and being surprised every night. I was like, oh, cool.
That's honest, dude. That is such a good mindset
like,
to have.
It like made me feel. Obviously, there's no stress.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to have that.
Yeah.
I guess going back to like when I first started making music is that where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm just trying to play shows with my friends, and if you like our songs, then you like them, and if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so sick. What a good mentality to have. Like, not asking for ticket sales.
Yeah, I had to make that switch, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, it fucks me up.
I might try that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's gonna work for everyone, but like it was a lot,
dude. But whenever we throw shows, I obsess over the like, I feel like I bother the venue so much. Like, I'll text them every 3 days. You go ticket update, you know?
Yeah. It's good to have, but like it was adding a lot of unnecessary stress, and at the end of the day, like, you kind of don't have control over it, to be honest.
Yeah, really.
Like, you can throw your post up on Instagram however many times, but like, I guess like
there's so many factors.
It wouldn't make a difference almost.
Yeah.
Like, people are gonna show up if they want to show up.
Yeah.
You know, and
because you're right. Like at the end of the day, you don't really control it. Like, you control how you play. That's what you control.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and like, yes, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. You could control your ticket sales if you post on Instagram more, but but not looking at them to looking at them is what makes the difference.
Yeah.
Like if I like made a post and instantly ask for a fucking ticket thing, and then there's like no ticket sold, then that's gonna fuck me up. But like if I just throw it up there into the ether and like
see what happens.
Yeah, and then you get surprised by like the day of, like, that was a better feeling, and I was less stressed and anxious about it.
Yeah.
Almost. So yeah. I don't know. I don't recommend doing that.
but leaving it up to fate.
Like, it just helped me out, because I honestly, for Happy Dabs, that's what I was like. I remember every fucking like ticket update. And
when do you remember where you were when you found out it sold out? It didn't sell at the door.
It sold out at the door. Yeah. So one of my, I think my age, no, somebody came up to me and was like, "Oh, dude, the fucking says sold out on the outside." I was like, "Oh, sick." Yeah, it was a good feeling. Yeah, it was really cool, like sharing that moment with like Corby, especially because we were like, "Damn, like we did it, dude."
Yeah,
like, it was a long, you know.
Did it feel like you thought it would?
Yeah, it was cool. Awesome. Like we worked super hard and all that, and him and his wife made all like the decorations for the stage.
That's so cool.
But it was just cool, like, you know, we grew up going to that venue when we were in high school, and it was fucking cool to finally do it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's so cool, man. Wow, that has to be a crazy feeling. That is the power of longevity, I think, and even if the longevity doesn't come from like, you know, like there's more than one metric to measure that with.
Yeah.
You can measure it with people you've met, you can measure it with friends you've made, you can measure it with what you can fill in a room, money, whatever. You know, but like pick your metric. It's like, I feel like just the love you get is the biggest and most important thing, you know?
Yeah, no, it really does. It really just feels good too.
This tour you guys are about to go on right now with the Red Bears and Ultra Q, I would imagine those rooms are definitely bigger than the ones you were playing on this tour, but are those, like, at least on a tour size, are these going to be the biggest rooms you guys have played? Or no?
Yeah, I think all those cities, for sure.
Sick, dude.
Yeah. We're the opener, so I'm just like, I'm so stoked.
Dude, yeah.
I'm so stoked. I don't have to ask about ticket sales.
Yeah. No, that's so fun.
And we just get to show up and open the show for the Pairs and Ultra Q, and I'm like really stoked to hit the road with those guys. And it's funny enough that with Ultra Q we were supposed to play so many times. Like, all right, we're gonna do a couple shows. Like we're gonna do, I think, the Gilman, and this was like a few weeks before the pandemic. We were gonna do the Gilman with Ultra Q, and then we were gonna do the Bootleg Theater, which closed down because of the pandemic out here, and then it didn't happen. And then finally the Ultra Q High Cribs link up happened at Happy Daps.
Yeah.
And I had just, and that was the first time I met all those dudes too.
Oh, I love those dudes so much.
They were like, you know, it was like instant homies. Yeah. And now we're getting to do a whole country run with them.
That's so cool.
I'm super stoked. Yeah.
Kev's a really close friend, and I've gotten closer with Jacob and other guys too. But yeah, they're such great dudes.
Yeah, they're
such
awesome.
Great dudes,
they're awesome.
Bro. But yeah, dude, that lineup's gonna be so sick. I was looking at it. Crazy as no LA date.
Yeah. I have no control over that. So people are gonna have to go to San Diego if they want to see that lineup.
I might make the trek.
Yeah, it's a really good lineup.
Yeah, no, but I'm super excited for you. Playing Happy Daps with Ultra Q, like, what do you think the most surreal moment was of the whole festival, if you had to pick one?
Oh man, maybe just like playing the last song is always the best.
Yeah,
just all the homies jumping off
stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told this story in the interview I did with Grip Secrets, but I don't think I've even told Israel this yet. But there was a moment where, like, I saw him stage dive, and I was like, "There's no way they catch him. There's absolutely no way they catch him."
Fucking Jack
Skellington. They did, bro.
Just Jack Skellington through the air.
Literally, bro. Yeah. It was like watching Superman, like,
dude,
like soar. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's honestly, they did that the first year too, and I was like, that's so cool. There's this amazing picture of Israel just flying through the air, like, I don't know, it's such a good photo.
Yeah. On some Superman shit.
Yeah, bro. That's my favorite, just because the homies, man, the homies really just make it even better for some reason.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I
just
get
seeing your homies jump like past you off the stage, I'm like,
it's like, damn.
But everyone gets injured at Happy Dap. One of my friends has to get injured. So I wonder who's next. Yeah, Taylor, when he wasn't in the band yet, in the first year of Happy Daps, he went for the dive on the last song too, and then nobody caught him. And he like
just nobody? Like
no, he like nobody caught him, and so he went I think his lower back straight to the floor, and he had something with his disc, and he could not he just
that's terrifying.
He was fucked up.
I've never, dude, I've hit a bunch of like light stage dives or like stage leans. I've never hit just like the run and jump, because that's like significantly more scary than like kind of like slowly leaning off like a DIY show into like a crowd that you know is gonna catch you. Like, that's way less scary than like.
This year Vinny was the Vinny from Grape Secrets.
He told me about this, I think.
Oh yeah, he fucking broke his toe.
Yeah,
I saw him after we all went to the In-N-Out right down the street from it, and I'm walking up and he's outside with his toe out, and he's like, dude, the last song, I hit a dive and just broke my toe on the bar. I was like, oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's so funny, bro.
But it's always like one of my friends getting hurt.
It's kind of the beauty of it, though.
Yeah.
Dude. People go hard.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the energy was, dude. There was a moment I remember during Make Out Reef set where I just like, and Make Out Reef and Ultra Q sets, bro, and your guys' set was just like, holy shit, bro. People were just going insane, dude.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the security because they literally just kept having, like, everybody was just stage diving, bro. Everybody was jumping, like, and I feel like the security just got overwhelmed. They had nothing, they couldn't do anything about it.
Dude, I put Mark from Floats told me to put them in the Constellation room, and
he asked me.
Yeah, and there was like an insane set.
Yeah, dude. They were crazy. Grave Secrets in the Constellation room was crazy.
Bed was fucking insane.
That was wild.
That was a lot. Like, I think they probably had like the best set in that room just because the kids were going crazy for them.
Yeah, they were.
There was probably the most stage dives I've seen in that room.
Everyone was jumping, bro.
Yeah.
Or we had Fabian set, and I had never seen them live before until that day.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, they rip live. Mm-hmm. They're like, that style of music is some of my favorite shit. Like, they're so cool, bro.
They're really good.
Just like, I don't know, like the whole Midwest stuff they do is just, it's so, I don't know, it feels so different. It's so fucking sick.
I really like them. Yeah, we're playing with them in a couple of days in San Diego.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
They're really good.
That'll
I really
be fun,
like that
bro.
band.
What was the like, okay, so this Happy Daps definitely like was way, well, you would say is way more of like a traditional festival than the last Happy Daps was, right? This one was more of like
this one had 2 rooms. The first one was what do we have, 7 bands, and it was just the main room.
Gotcha.
And that one was like the first one was awesome. It's, dude, that lineup I can't recreate ever again.
Yeah,
because the prices on
They've
those
all gone
bands
up,
went up that like same year.
Yeah.
And
Young Atita, Wayward, you guys,
Deathlens, Israel's Arcade, Floats. Yeah. Floats has the residency, so
yeah, that's sick. I love the idea of there just being some staple bands that play Happy Daps every year.
Yeah, so cool. Floats are. We already signed the contract. We got the 10-year residency at Happy Dabs.
It's up.
So if you're going to Happy Dabs, you know you're gonna see Floats
for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
What was like the business difference in throwing like something like a 7-man, just like, you know, more like a big show opposed to like a festival thing? Like, anybody who would want to do the same thing, how would you start in somewhere like that? Of course there's like obviously I guess the start is doing it for 12 years, but
right.
but
that's honestly the start, where I've thrown so many shows where like this the first one was like, all right, let's try it out basically. And nobody knew what the fuck Happy Daps was, number one, right? So it was really like a shot in the dark, and it did well. Like, you know, it didn't sell out, but it sold enough tickets to
be good.
To be good, and I think people really enjoyed the first one and thought it was really cool. So those people showed out for the second one, and you know, then it was a 2-stage thing, and I don't know. It just worked out.
Were you like were you expecting like what happened in the second one, like, or did you expect it that big?
So like the day tickets went on sale, like when I got the ticket update just from the first day of how many tickets were sold, I was like, oh fuck, like something happened here. Because like the ticket sales were just that much more. Just in comparison, like, you know, the first one was like, oh, you sold 10 tickets on the first day. Like, this one was like 200 people bought tickets on the first day. So like,
whoa.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit. It was a really good feeling.
I wonder what it was.
I think people just wanted, there was nothing after the pandemic that really had like a community, like a scene, like there wasn't a scene festival like that.
No, not at all.
People could tell through the bullshit of what other festivals are throwing. Like, I'm involved in the scene. Like, I'm not just throwing a fest to like make money. You know what I mean? And like that's a lot of the shit around. Like, you know, it's a lot of it. And so people could see through like through the bullshit. Like, this is authentic and genuine, and I think people just really had fun the first one, and I really hope the third one we throw is even, you know, just as good.
I'm so excited for it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna be so fucking sick.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
It won't be on the same day this year though.
Oh.
Like, somebody else got me apparently.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
It's already that. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Damn. What was the first one on the same day as the?
It was the first. I was trying to make it the first Saturday of April every year.
Which is cool because it's kind of like the very, very, very early beginning of summer.
Yeah, but now I got to change it.
Damn, recipes. But yeah, bro, I'm like, I can't wait.
Yeah, dude. Bring the crew backstage again.
Fuck
the Mario
yeah.
Sosa backstage, please.
Yes, sir. The Mario Sosa X Gangster Penis meetup.
Yeah. The Mario Sosa corner at Happy Daps, and it's just you taking pictures of
yourself. What? The Mario Sosa photo booth?
The Mario Sosa photo booth
Would be crazy.
above the bridge. The Mario Sosa himself taking photos.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
All right, let's make it happen.
Fuck yeah. Last thing I wanted to ask you. If you had, like, this one's been super sick hearing about, like, the whole history of it. I'm such a junkie for somebody who's, like, gives a fuck about the scene-oriented music and just gives a fuck about doing it for a long time. So super cool. But if there was, like, one message that you think you could spread through your music when it's all said and done one day, what do you think that message would be? Like, if you had hopes for what somebody would take from your music.
Anyone could do it. Honestly, just write what you feel. Honestly, I hope you like my music. Yeah, and write what you feel. Do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you know. I don't know. There's so many. I got too much songs, dude.
Yeah.
I got too many songs.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's so much.
Yeah.
Just, you know, take what you want from it.
Beautiful.
Take what you want from it. Pave your own way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
That's it.
Thank you, Ed.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah. Tell them where they could. You guys got a full national tour with the Red Pears and Ultra Q coming up. You guys have an album out. Tell them where they could buy tickets, where they can stream the new record.
The High Curbs on every streaming site, and you could buy tickets on the Red Pears website. And if you can't find that, go to our Instagram at the High Curbs. We have a link tree on the bio. Everything will be there.
Hell yeah. Thank you, brother.
Dude,
appreciate you, man. All right, music matters.